Hey everyone, I am here with a friend from the beginning of the beginning of the beginning for Blended Together Forever. Todd Gangl. He and his wife Tammy, we met at the original Family Life Blended, and we're guessing it was 2013. We may be
It,
wrong
it was a
on,
long time ago.
but it was a long time ago. And as we've been doing these podcasts, I knew I needed to get Todd on to share his journey with Tammy and where he was as a pastor and his kids and stepkids. So first of all, Todd, thanks for doing this.
You're
Um,
very welcome. Thanks for asking, Craig.
oh man, we're just excited to have you share your story. So start with your start with your family. How'd you meet Tammy? The kid composition, and then we'll talk about blending stuff in a minute. But let them just get to know you.
Sure. So I was a single parent with four kids, two boys, two girls. Tammy was a single parent with a boy and a girl. So literally when we married, we became the instant Brady Bunch. Tammy always tells everyone in the seminars, we looked for Alice. We never did find her, but boy, we could have used her, someone to cook and clean. Um, but Tammy and I met because we were both working at the same church. She was working in the school. She actually had my two younger daughters in aftercare. Funny story. Um, my love language is definitely not touch. I'm very super ticklish. And but my daughters would come home and they're like, Dad, Miss Tammy, when we take naps, she tickles our arms and we go to sleep. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that would drive me nuts. Right. There's no way I'd be going to sleep. I would be climbing the walls. But they had all the, and she tells stories and this, that, and the other. And then I was in this singles again group that I was leading because I was actually ordained in this church. So I was on the pastoral staff. And all the singles kept talking about Tammy Wheelis, Tammy Wheelis this, Tammy Wheelis that. I'm like, man, y'all talk a lot about Tammy. I had no idea if they were like trying to get us together, what was going on. But anyhow, I had a lady at church. I was dropping my kids off at the school, which is where Tammy worked. And she just came to the car and she said, Hey, Todd, I know someone that really wants to go out with you. And having heard that many times as a pastor, normally I just said, yeah, hey, thanks. But I'm good. I'm raising four kids. They're kind of young. I've got my hands full. But for some reason that day I said, really? Well, who is it? And then she kind of backed up. I think she thought I would go, oh, thanks, but no. And she was like, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you until I ask her if it's okay. And so I didn't see her the rest of that day, but Saturday I came to drop kids off at Royal Rangers and out she comes. And I said, hey, by the way, you never told me yesterday who that was. And she goes, well, there's only three single ladies that work at the church and it's not this person or this person. And then she just walked off. So I was like, oh, well, that only leaves Tammy. And anyhow, so we dated just for a very short period of time. It was kind of like the Lord we just kind of knew. She had been watching and following me. She was actually good friends with my ex. And so she had come over, she would pray with my ex when she would get sick and things. And so
Wow.
so she knew what I'd gone through and she'd watched me, over the 4.5 years that I was a single parent raising kids and so she felt like, hey, this guy, I can trust him. And I knew about her through kids and the singles group and everyone else that talked about Tammy. What really funny, but the Christmas before we started dating, she actually ran into me in a Walmart and she was actually dating someone else. And she said, hey, can I talk to you? I know you're a counselor. And I said, yeah, let's go sit down. And so we sat at this McDonald's and she actually asked me, hey, do you think I should keep dating this guy? And I'm thinking, wow, well, this is a weird position to be in, right?
Yeah.
Because she's kind of cute, but I don't know if I'm ready to. But anyhow, I told her no, by the way. And she did. She dropped him, and like 4 months later, we started dating. So then I felt bad. I'm like, oh, maybe did I set this up? But 9 months later, we got married, and it'll be 20 years this Valentine's Day, this February.
That
So
is
blended six kids, three boys, three girls. They're all grown. Three of them are married. One of our sons just got married. Two of our daughters have been married. So it's been a journey, not without hills and valleys and peaks and really good times, really bad times. Uh, and somehow in the middle of all of it, God just spoke through our youngest son about, hey, we ought to start this step family ministry and talk to people because somehow we make this crazy thing work. And Tammy and I looked at each other and went, what do you think? Maybe that's something we should do. And that was, got married in 2004, started Step Family 911 in 2006 with our kids, talking to people with our kids, which is what was unique, right? You could
That
talk to
is,
the parents, but they really wanted to talk to our kids.
yeah. That's such an interesting point because the initial thought came from one of the kiddos
Yeah.
that's that then, kind of made us sit up and think about that. When you did at the beginning, when you did this as a family, what role did the kids play and what role did you and Tammy play? And tell us at the very beginning of Step Family 911, that journey as you kind of launched forward at the beginning. Tell us about that.
So we sat the kids down and we were really big on family meetings. And we sat all the kids down and we said, hey, we got this crazy idea. And what do y'all think? And I think at that time, I think our oldest son may have been 16. So they were probably 16 down to 8 at that time. And 5 of them immediately said, yeah, we want to do that.
Wow.
Our oldest son was like, I don't know that I can do that. Because what we'd asked him was, would you be willing to get up and within certain healthy boundaries, talk about your stuff? I mean, just, and really the way we went into this was, we're not professionals. I am not a professional counselor. I was an Air Force chaplain for many years, so I have a minor in counseling, but I'm not a professional counselor. But we said we can tell people what not to do because we've done that. So basically, our idea was to go in and say, hey, don't do this because it doesn't work. Try this instead. But the unique thing was the kids were like, well, we want our own session. And so Tammy and I would get up and let's say we were talking about how do you do fair discipline. So Tammy and I would talk for about 30 minutes and then we'd sit down and then our kids would get up and they would talk for about 15 minutes on this is how that looks from a stepkid perspective, right? And then we'd open it up for question and answers. And it was just a 1-day seminar. Had like 4 main topics. We talked about your marriage. We talked about discipline. We talked about, a lot of things. How do you blend? And the kids would, each time we talk 30 minutes, kids get up, talk 15. And I tell you what, I would shut my session down. I'd say, okay, anyone have any questions? And it's just crickets, the kids would get up and it's like every hand in the place went up. I've always wanted to ask my stepkids this. I've always wanted to ask my. So we actually put a session at the very end where we just had our kids in chairs and we just said, ask any question you want, and that really took off with people asking, my stepkids hate me. How do I improve that relationship? It was interesting. That really became an interesting session.
Todd, you're dripping words of wisdom and it's gold. I mean, I remember when we decided to start Blended Together Forever, we kept thinking, how are the kids going to react? Are they going to be for it? Are they going to be against it? Are they going to say, don't do that? We, like you, were pioneers at the beginning of this movement. So we
Right.
did along too. In fact, Gina says, we can tell you what not to do. We did a few things right, but we can tell you more about what we wouldn't do if we started over.
Right.
Um, which is
Absolutely.
which is fine. That was just the period and the era that we came into this journey. But you're hitting something that resonates with me in my heart, and the same would Gina would say. She's always told me, Craig, we got to help the kids. We got to help the kids. We got to help the kids. It's just been ringing in my spirit for a long time. And here you're telling me that you and Tammy actually had the kid, and it makes sense.
Yeah, we actually, Craig, we actually would invite the whole family. We didn't just have adults. We would tell the church, if the kids are 10 years old or older, let them come to the seminar because our kids are going to be speaking directly to them. And so we actually kept the families together as much as we could. And at the end, we would actually invite the younger kids in. And one of our daughters and I did a puppet skit. And it was her talking to the puppet, me as the puppet. And it was talking about how do you deal with like anger. We talked about, you can have a balloon and you could put puffs in your balloon, but if you put too many puffs, it'll explode. So you got to find a way to get puffs out. And so we shared little ideas on getting puffs out of the balloon with younger kids. And then we gave them all a balloon so they could practice, do you need to talk about something with mom tonight? And you could actually let puffs out of your balloon when you talked and things like that, it was amazing to see the response. I have kids to this day that keep up with me on Facebook just because they were in the seminars and they remember us from that, which is neat. We did, family counseling in our house, and if it was kids that needed counseling, we usually asked our kids to talk to them. We usually didn't talk to them. We just let our kids sit and talk to
I love what you said a minute ago about you asked your kids, would you come up and share your journey within healthy boundaries
them.
about your stuff? That's powerful. That's powerful. In fact, it makes me feel like next time we do one of these, I'd love to have one or two or all the your kids, whatever, if it'd be open to just put them all on a Zoom podcast recording. And
Hmm.
I think you're right. I think people want to hear that. And you're just hitting a note in my heart, like, yeah, okay, got this from this guy or this lady, but yeah, we want to know the kids. So
Yeah.
that's powerful. That
There's actually, if you go to Family Life, there's actually a recording of Family Life today with our kids. Ron actually asked I don't know if y'all were at the Blended and Blessed in Washington, D.C. that year,
we were.
but yeah, Ron had two of our kids up on the stage, Emily and Josh,
I remember.
talking about what's it like to be a step kid. That's probably the scariest I've ever been was, oh no, what are they going to say? That's when the whole country found out that I cooked in a crock pot for 4 years, and it wasn't until Tammy came along that they got good food.
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, it's out there.
So
They were asked too. They were asked to be on a TV. I forget the TV station
love it.
somewhere that said, "Can we just talk to your kids?" And we were like, "Sure." And then we're thinking, what are we getting into? That they're going to ask the kids, and we told the kids, we said, listen, you can say anything you need to say about us. Don't talk about the others. Don't talk, because mom's not here, your dad's not here. We don't talk about them, but you can talk about. And it actually went really good. I was surprised.
God, I love what you're sharing. When we send this out, I want to get a copy of that link and put it in the email so people can actually watch your
Sure.
kids that Family Life and Ron did. That'll be powerful. Couple other points before we wrap up. Tell us kind of where your family is today. We've talked about the beginning and all that, but bring us up to speed today. And then kind of what, as you look forward, what's ahead? Give us perspective on both of those real fast.
Sure. So, Tammy and I live in Huntsville, Alabama. We do the stuff we do for step families, we do part-time. Like you're saying, there's been a tremendous drop off since COVID.
Yes.
One thing we're finding, and Ron Deal, who is actually our boss in ministry, because we work part-time for Family Life, so Ron heads that up, is that seminars aren't working anymore. Ron has had seminars that had to be canceled. He was supposed to have one here in Huntsville. It got canceled because of lack of people signing up. We have started doing military seminars. So we took Step Family 911 and converted it to Step Family Boot Camp. And we were actually at Fort Gordon in Georgia when COVID hit. We weren't sure if we were going to have to fly home or drive home. That was a lot of fun. But since then, we've had a couple, but it's been one was completely canceled just recently out at Fort Leavenworth. It seems like people don't do seminars. They want everything online. And it seems like that works a lot. Sorry about that. That seems to work a lot better. May want to pause for a minute. I got someone at the door. Excuse me, just a sec.
Sure. Go ahead, Todd.
So, with Ron and the military stuff, he called us when all our kids, we talked about the kids, and eventually our kids grew up, right? And they're going to college, and it became fewer and fewer and harder to get kids to do seminars because of the fact that they were out and about. And we were really just looking and praying and saying, okay, God, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to keep doing this? Do you want us to put this down? What do we do? And Ron called and said, hey, with your background in the chaplaincy, would you consider doing military step family. And I thought, wow, that would be really awesome. And so we picked that up in 2000 and I want to say 18, I think is when we started that. And we've been doing that ever since. And mainly it's taken the form of writing, taken the form of putting out help sheets and tip sheets and getting those to bases. Just recently, like I said, we started thinking about doing the seminar stuff again, but seems like seminars are kind of gone the way of the dodo. And we do a lot. Well, we don't do a lot, but we do stuff online where we offer to chaplains. I offer a helping your chapel become step friendly. And we've had interest in that where it's just me and other chaplains, and I just walk them through what's the difference. Military, there's three big differences between civilian step family and military step family. We in the military, we struggle with all the same stuff, right? That everyone else struggles with. But on top of that, we have deployments where you could be a step parent and literally be left with all your step kids for up to a year with absolutely no authority to do anything. That was the biggest, because remember, custody comes from family court. Anything that I can give you legally, power of attorney, comes from a probate court, and those two are not one and the same. So I can't transfer custody to anybody through probate court. So you can't leave the step parent really with anything that's going to actually uphold in a court if the other parents, try something. But so deployments is a big issue. Distance parenting is a really big issue because most people in the military, because of their PCSs, they don't have full custody. And then just the demands of the military. And I bet y'all have seen some of this being in Texas, but when we would do seminars, inevitably we would have a table that when we're talking about discipline and we, do some role playing, there was one table that said, we'd say, well, how would you discipline your child with this? And they'd said, kill them all and let God sort them out. I'm like, yeah, y'all are military, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. And you realize the demands that the military places on people where it is an authoritarian structure,
Right.
can really destroy a step family.
Yeah. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
I get it. I kind of grew up with that model myself. So I thought, okay, well, I'm dad when Gina and I got together because she had boys that she goes, finally, I've got a male that can help me, discipline the kids. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
goes well at the beginning. But no, it makes sense. And especially, like you said, with the extra issues being in the military concern, not just a civilian role, that's some good wisdom. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really what we're doing now. We're
Okay.
doing the military thing.
So how can people find out more about what you're doing, Todd? Give us your, website, email, cell phone, whatever, that they can find out more about what you're doing. I appreciate you sharing with us.
Not a problem, Craig. Honored to get to do that. So our website is called the Military Ready Step Family.com. So it's kind of long, the Military Ready Step Family. Readiness, obviously, in the military is a big thing. So that's where you go to see our website. If you go to Family Life or you go to Ron's site on Family Life, so the blended family site, all of the tip sheets and the writings and the stuff we've done for the military, if you just want to download those are all available on Ron's website. There's a Facebook site that's for the Military Ready Step Family where we put a lot of tip sheets and a lot of pictures you can just print out really quick that have tips on them for different things in the military. If you deploy, here's some, great ideas. So there's those would be the main places you could go and find us and get our stuff.
Great. We will get this out to everybody and we'll reiterate all those links in our email blast. So Todd, thank you for doing this so much.
You're very welcome.
Let's do it again. And next time we'll have to have, one or two or three or kids if they're open to sharing just anything from, again, with boundaries and guardrails.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love to do that again with them, and we'll stay in touch, my friend. Okay.
That is awesome, Craig. Thank you so much. It's great seeing you and hearing from you.
Great to see you too. Thanks so much.